Osteopathy, it is a natural medicine, and we want to find the cause of the problem, the dysfunctional pain. Andrew Taylor Still explained an osteopath, it is like an engineer of the organism. I believe that because we are able to know all mechanism inside the body, and we are able to know where we have a dysfunction. Okay? It's possible to put back in motion different parts of the body, and after that you have health, and you have no pain, and you have a good feeling for the patient, a wellness for the patient. I love osteopathy because we have not just the consciousness, awareness of the sickness, but we are aware about the health. Our goal is not to fight the sickness, but to put back in motion all mechanism in the body to come back to the health.
The common description of osteopathy, it's an art and a science. So there are really two evolving areas that come together. But osteopathy is a practice, a manual practice, of being able to see the person as a whole person and not in parts and pieces. It is really the ability to search for the expression of health in that person. Everyone has it. Everyone has that capacity to heal, to regenerate, to improve. Even the most chronic clients that I have adore osteopathy because it always brings them to a better state and allows them to function with much less pain, much less disability. So for me, the osteopathic approach is really an approach that looks at the whole of the person and promotes the health in the person.
Osteopathy comes from the United States. It was developed by Andrew Taylor Still in 1874. So he was a doctor and he developed some other ways than medical to help patients, especially his kids that were sick. So, and we follow, and they wrote book, especially there's a kind of a student of Still that is Magoon. Magoon wrote a big book that we translated. And there are others, like you were mentioning, Viola Fryman, that sadly passed away, I think last year. She developed for many years the pediatric approach of osteopathy. So she treated a lot of babies and she gave a lot of courses to help the osteopath treat babies. And I could go on and on and on. Look, 1874, so I could go on with osteopaths that were teaching, were writing books. And we follow the predecessors. We follow, like I said, Andrew Taylor Still, Magoon are mainly the ones, we follow their writing, their philosophy also, their philosophy in all the campuses we have.
Palpation is using a tactile and sensory mechanism that also needs to evolve, that also needs, you may have no ability to palpate when you start. Some students have extraordinary palpation skills when they come in, but they haven't really put it together. Some students have none. So if you start at somewhat of a very bony level of palpation that's fairly concrete, no, you're not on the skin, you have to pass through the skin and get onto a bone and move a bone. All right? And you have to evaluate that motion. That's a skill. And then once that skill in the first couple of years is managed, there are more skills. Can you get on a membrane? Okay, so it's not a bone, it's not skin, it's something deeper. It's a membranous level. And as you develop those skills, can you get on a fluid level? Oh, that's something completely different. It's a completely different form of palpation. And it takes time. And then there is the visceral palpation. This is why the 5-year program is so good for students, because it allows them the time to evolve according to their own tactile sensory system. And they all come out a little differently. And it's really part of their expression, their relationship with the health of the person.
It's possible to train people to have a good palpation. It's possible to train people to recognize the health and the sickness in the tissue. It's not really difficult.
Everybody can develop the palpation. Look, the way I understand it, you know, for probably your first course, first year, palpatory speaking, you're not gonna feel anything. But through the courses, we're gonna help you. Teachers, they go in the class, they put their hands on your hand to help you. And the way I see it is, the more you have, we call it mechanoreceptors, and that gives you the palpation. The more you use your palpation, the more you develop mechanoreceptor in your fingers. So that's why today, when I treat my patient, I consider I have a great palpation because I used it and I developed the receptors of my hands. But ask me, did I feel something in the first year? Not really. But practice, practice, practice. And like I said, you're going to develop your receptors and you're going to have palpation. So who can palpate? Anybody. But don't come here on a Saturday and Saturday night you're going to palpate. Forget about it. It takes months, it takes years.
What is palpation? Palpation is the capacity that we develop to feel the motion of the bones, to feel the motion of the fascia, feel the motion of even the fluid, and even, like I would say, the magnetic field around us. And so the hands are so beautiful, but it's not, we don't have just the palpation with the hands. We can feel with the hand, but we feel also with the heart, because hands are just a continuity of our heart.
I touch with my hand, yes. I work with my hand, yes. But by example, in osteopathy, I work with my body. My body induces the movement of my hand.
Palpation basically is to have your hands on another body and feel what's under your hand, but there are hundreds of things manifesting there. And so the question is, what do you pick up and how do you interpret it and how do you work with it to bring it back into its normality?
I start osteopathy for that, because we treat the cause, because you have no force. All treatment is very soft. It is a solicitation, no obligation for the body, but the body take it.